And if you are just joining us, I welcome you to coverage of Election Night 2006. Quite a number of races going on that we have to report on for the Senate, for the House, control there, and 36 governorships as well to be decided tonight. The numbers again to keep in mind. To take control of the Senate, the Democrats would have to pick up 6 switches. They would have to win 6 seats from the Republicans. And to gain control of the House, the Democrats need to pick up 15 seats from the Republicans. And this is the tote board that we're going to be using all through the night. And so far, we can project that the Democrats are going to gain 3 Senate seats from the Republicans. That's so far. And so far, they have gained 3 seats from the Republicans in the House. But as we have said, there are many more votes to be counted on Vote 2006.
This is an ABC News special. Today, all across America, the people spoke. On Iraq, the war on terror, healthcare, the economy, values. In this close election, with control of the House and Senate in question, who will be making the decisions? And what will tonight really mean for the race for the White House? From ABC News, Vote 2006. Now reporting from ABC News election headquarters in New York, Charles Gibson.
And we do welcome you, and we want to bring you right up to date on where things stand right now in the United States Senate. 33 seats at stake tonight, but 20 of them we basically knew who was going to win those races because they were really not heavily contested by one party or the other. But there were 11 seats that were critical to who would gain control of the Senate. 8 of them being defended by Republicans, 3 of them being defended by Democrats. All right, as we have said, in order to gain control of the Senate, Democrats must get 6 switches from the Republicans. One that they have gotten so far tonight, because we can project it in the state of Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee, the incumbent, has been defeated by Sheldon Whitehouse. Whitehouse, a former state attorney general, Chafee, the man who succeeded his father. His father, John Chafee, a very popular senator, died. Chafee won a term, but has not been reelected in this year. Chafee, a very independent Republican, but it wasn't enough. And you have a fascinating statistic about this race.
Stunning, Charlie. We looked at the exit polls in the state of Ohio, and we asked the voters, in the state of Rhode Island, excuse me, we asked the voters, do you approve of the job that Senator Chafee was doing? 62% said yes. Yet they voted him out of office. This is all about President Bush in the war. Rhode Island is the most anti-Bush state in the country. He has only a 23% approval rating there. They are very much against the war. This is a very blue, very Democratic state.
So they approved of Chafee, but they don't approve of the president. And in this very Democratic state, they have voted Chafee out of office.
Even though Lincoln Chafee in 2004 didn't even vote for the president.
Didn't vote for the president and did not vote for the war in Iraq. All right. Ohio next. Sherrod Brown there has defeated Mike DeWine, the incumbent senator. DeWine had 2 terms in the Senate, but we're going to be saying this all night long. To be a Republican in Ohio is to be in trouble. And Sherrod Brown tied Mike DeWine very much to the president, to the war on Iraq. It was a referendum on being a Republican in Ohio, and Sherrod Brown has won that seat. That's the second switch. In Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, the state treasurer, has defeated Rick Santorum. Santorum high in the leadership of the Republicans in the Senate. But as I said earlier, the Democrats in Pennsylvania set their sights, indeed national Democrats set their sights on Santorum very early in this election year and have been able to defeat him. Now, Virginia is a critical Senate race where the Democrats feel they have to win if they are going to gain control of the Senate. And there you see we've got 86% of the precincts reporting in the state of Virginia, and George Allen, the incumbent, has a lead of about, about 25,000 votes over Jim Webb. And that will be a deep disappointment to the Democrats if they lose that one, because they had counted on picking up Virginia.
They absolutely had, and they need to pick up Virginia. The Republicans have built a defense in the South, in Virginia, in Tennessee, and Missouri. They've poured a lot of money in there. They know that if they hold 2 out of 3 of those states, then they're going to control the Senate.
And so far they're ahead in Virginia, and so far they are also ahead in the state of Tennessee. This is where Bob Corker, the former Chattanooga mayor, was running against Harold Ford Jr., member of the Congress, a man who wanted to be the first African-American to be elected to the Senate in the South since Reconstruction. We have half the precincts now reporting in the state of Tennessee, and a significant lead, 42 plus 17, that's 59,000 vote lead for Corker over Harold Ford. And Missouri is the next one. And this is a race that we think is going to be tight right down to the end. Jim Talent is the incumbent Republican who won a special election over Jean Carnahan in 2002. Claire McCaskill is the state auditor who has run statewide before, so she has good name recognition. There were tough ads in this campaign. This one, you'll remember, is the race where Michael J. Fox did a stem cell ad in favor of Claire McCaskill. The Democrats are counting on this if they're going to get control of the Senate. Right now, McCaskill trailing Talent, but it is very early in that race, which gives us the switch seats board of +3 so far for the Democratic Party, but things not looking good in Tennessee, not looking good in Virginia, and so the chances of the Democrats gaining control of the Senate?
Not impossible, but let's take a look at your tote board and give an idea of what it will take for the Democrats to do it.
I want to spend some time on this board, if you can look at this, because these are the races. I mentioned there are 11 tightly contested races that we've been looking at. 8 on the left being defended by Republicans, and 3 on the right being defended by Democrats. We haven't mentioned those races, but in Maryland we can project that Ben Cardin will win. In Michigan we can project that Debbie Stabenow will win. In New Jersey we can predict that Bob Menendez will win. So the Democrats have been able to defend, I don't have the telestrator on here, the Democrats have been able to defend all 3 seats that they had to hold. To get control of the Senate, they have to win 6 of these 8 seats. So far they have won in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island, but if Tennessee does go to the Republicans, and this is just a possibility I'm putting on here, this is not definite, and if they're able to control Virginia, they would then have to win Arizona, where they don't have much of a chance, Missouri, where they're trailing now, and Montana, where their chances are problematical as well.
Very, very tough, because Arizona is really a long shot for the Democrats. They poured $1 million in there in the last weekend and the last Thursday, but they always knew this was a long shot against John Kyle, a popular incumbent senator in that state. It could be a close race, but it's not one the Democrats are counting on at all.
Anyway, I hope this board is understandable to folks, and as I say, so far, as we're watching these 8 seats that Republicans are defending, so far the Democrats have picked up 3, but those may be actually the easiest 3 for them to pick up. All right, we're going to go to the House now, and as we've mentioned, 15 seats the Republicans need to, or the Democrats need to pick up from the Republicans, and we can give you some of the key House races so far and how those have gone. In Indiana's 9th district, this is a 3rd-time rematch between Barron Hill and Mike Sodrell. Sodrell won the last one, although Hill had won the one before that. Anyway, they go back at it a 3rd time, and we can project that Barron Hill will win this seat in Indiana. There were 3 seats being contested closely in the state of Indiana. We'll give you the others, but this means that the Democrats have picked up all 3 seats that were at stake in the state of Indiana.
And this is a bitter pill for the Republicans, Charlie, because that was the one race right there they were hoping to hold on to in Indiana. Indiana, a very tough state for Republicans this year, in part because of local issues. The Republican governor, Mitch Daniels, imposed daylight savings time across the state. That wasn't very popular. Number 2, he privatized his toll road. I know this sounds like a small deal, but it was a big deal. It made a lot of people upset. It helped cost 3 Republicans their seats.
And a lot of Republicans actually said, don't put too much stake in Indiana. Even if we lose a bunch of races there, it may be because of local issues, not so much of the war in Iraq.
But go back to that map you showed just a short while ago. Those 5 states across the middle of the country, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and New York. We said if the Democrats pick up 3 seats in each state, it's going to be a blowout. They've started it in Indiana.
They have indeed done all 3 of those races in Indiana. I want to show you just a board on the 2nd district in Indiana. This is around South Bend, where Joe Donnelly has defeated the incumbent Chris Ciccolo. Donnelly, a businessman there. Ciccolo tried to say he's an out-of-touch millionaire. Well, he's now going to have a job in the House of Representatives. Donnelly will win that district in the northern part of Indiana. And then in the 8th district of Indiana, we can project that Brad Ellsworth is going to defeat John Hostetler. Hostetler had 6 terms in the House of Representatives, always ran a very family-based campaign. His own family was very much involved, but this is always a dicey district in southern Indiana, and Ellsworth, who is the county sheriff in Vandenberg County, has won there.
Absolutely, and he's a very tough, different kind of Democrat as well. He has not promised to vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. John Hostetler, as you said, I think his sister runs his campaigns. He always rejects help from the National Republican Party. Not sure it would have made much difference this time, but he got blown out.
3 contested districts in Indiana, 3 wins for the Democratic Party. Now, George has been talking through the night about the 3rd district of Kentucky, and this is one we want to put up next, where Ann Northrup was the incumbent Republican running against John Yarmouth. Yarmouth tied her again to George Bush. She tried to establish her independence by saying Don Rumsfeld ought to resign as Secretary of Defense, and you said that the Republicans were telling you if Ann Northrop went down, it was going to be a tough night.
Absolutely. I had breakfast with the chairman of the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee in early September. He said this was the one race he was going to watch early in the evening, and if Ann Northrop lost, he believed the Republicans were going to lose the House.
All right, we're going to look at the 15th District of Ohio. This is a district where Deborah Price has been in office for 7 terms in the House of Representatives and is number 4 in the House leadership. She's always gotten, in all of her races, 60% or better when she has run for office. Mary Jo Kilroy, a Franklin County commissioner, is running against her. And this race really could be a litmus of how things are going to go.
It really is. This is pivotal. I think so far Deborah Price is doing a little bit better than even some of her colleagues expected. As you said, she's the 4th leading Republican in the House of Representatives. She was facing that Ohio tide, but so far she's hanging in there. This will be a real morale boost for the Republicans if she holds on.
All right, we're going to go to the 13th district in Florida. This is an open district in Florida. Catherine Harris retired from this district to run for the Senate. And Vern Buchanan, who was an auto dealer there and who put a lot of money into his own campaign, $5 million by some estimates, running against Christine Jennings, who's a businesswoman there and had Emily's List support. Cokie Roberts was talking earlier about the women's vote in this, and this was considered to be a critical race for the women's vote. So far, Vern Buchanan leading, but this is a race basically, given the demographics of that district, that the Republicans ought to win easily.
It shouldn't be close. Sarasota is a very, very Republican city. On the other hand, Democrats did believe up until last week or so that they had a very good chance at this race. This will be a disappointment to them if they don't take it.
I want to look at the 16th district of Florida as well, and that one a lot of attention has been paid to because that was the district represented by Mark Foley, and Foley was considered to be a shoo-in for re-election. But he had to resign after the House Page scandal erupted, and the party, the Republican Party of Florida, put forth Joe Negrin as the candidate there. But it was Foley's name on the ballot. So if you wanted the Republican Negrin to win, you still had to sort of bite your lip and vote for Foley.
And you have to give a lot of credit to Joe Negrin that this race is even close right now. The day the Mark Foley scandal broke, the day he resigned, the majority leader of the House, John Boehner, conceded it. He threw it away. He didn't think the Republicans had a chance. Joe Negrin has had a great slogan for the last 4 weeks. He said, punch Foley. That way you could get your anger out at Foley and vote for Joe Negrin.
Anyway, that stands right now 49 to 48%. Not enough information yet to call that race. We talked about scandal affecting a lot of races, particularly that one in Florida. I want to look at the 10th district of Pennsylvania, where this is a district solidly Republican in the northeast corner of the state. And you would think that Don Sherwood, he's got 4 terms in the House, you would think he'd be easy for re-election, but Don Sherwood ran into some problems and had to admit to his district that indeed he had an extramarital affair. He also was accused of, what was he accused of? Beating up the mistress, I
think
guess.
strangler and trying to strangle her, Charlie. It was not a good race for Don Sherwood. President Bush went there at the end. He stood by Don Sherwood. Don Sherwood did an ad where basically he apologized to his whole district for it. Doesn't look like it was enough. Apologized
to his wife, settled a lawsuit brought against him by the former mistress. Don Sherwood in a lot of trouble because of that, and Chris Carney there, as we showed you, is leading in that district. So the switch seats in the House so far. We have the Republicans picking up 4 seats in the House so far tonight, the 3 in Indiana, the race in Kentucky, and I should mention that the House races will be more, what did I say?
You said it's Democrats.
I'm sorry, Democrats have picked up 4 seats from the Republicans, and I should mention that the election results and the totals will be coming in more slowly in the House because we're waiting for the raw vote totals. There are no exit polls in the House seats. There's really no way to project those races as easily until we get the raw vote totals. So those races will be coming more slowly, coming in more slowly. So let's go to Donna Brazil and George Will, and if I can call in Mark Halperin in just a moment, we'll talk to him as well. George, you say this is normal. This kind of thing happens in a second-term presidency in the off-year election that they typically lose. But this is much a referendum, is it not, on the war?
Oh, absolutely. When you showed an earlier graphic that showed disapproval of George Bush and disapproval of the Iraq War, I think they were 1 percentage point apart. So this is a referendum. It means that the Democrats succeeded in their plan, which was to turn this not into a choice locally between one candidate and another, but rather a referendum on the war on the national issue. An irony, however, is this. we could be seeing the creation of a more